August 18th, 2026, and we'll call to order the regular council meeting for the Township of Nippigan. I'll just read a quick note here. This is the clerk's note. The regular meeting of council originally scheduled for August 11th was postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. Notice of the postponement and rescheduled meeting was provided through the township's website, Facebook page, and Voyant Alert notification system. This meeting constitutes the rescheduled regular meeting of council. So I will next follow with land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, the Corporation of the Township of Nippigan respectfully acknowledges it is located on the traditional lands of the Red Rock Indian Band, signatory to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850, and the township further respectfully acknowledges the historic presence of other signatories on these lands. All right, item number 1, addendum to agenda. Is there any addendum to the agenda this evening? Any disclosures of pecuniary interest tonight? Nope. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, petitions and delegations. We have one item under that. So we have audience member tonight, Kathy Stitt, a guest, and she will be presenting the draft Rotary environmental proposal to enhance natural shoreline vegetation at the Nippigan Marina. And with that, Kathy, you can go ahead and maybe, I don't know if we can get maybe just pass over a microphone.
What?
Yeah? Okay. You can pop up to the table here, Kathy, and you can use the microphone. That way everyone can hear you.
Okay. They'll think I'm Glenn. Maybe. So I'm representing Rotary, and I'm still in my first year having joined Nippigan Rotary, and was volunteered. Rotary does a lot of humanitarian work, but we also do environmental work now. That's fairly new to Rotary.
I think you might have to sit down and talk into it, just to, and then move it towards you. You gotta be, it's pretty directional, so.
How's that? How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
Gotta be close.
Yeah.
Gotta be eating it.
Yes.
So just this Rotary has a 4-way test that any projects that we do, we make sure that they meet this 4-way test. And it's, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And so we feel that this project has passed this test. I have talked to Taylor Haskell just to get an idea of whether she would be open to this or what she would be open to, and made some modifications before we came to council. Just, it'll make things easier. If she was going to say no right off the bat, then there's no point in moving forward. So this picture is the beginning of, beside the double boat launch, the beginning of where we're proposing. You can see a bit of a footpath in between the lookout on the right. We would probably be naturalizing up to the footpath and then following that path along. So next slide, please. So the project Enhance the Natural Vegetation, it really supports Nippigan being the natural edge, because this is, our natural river, our cold water ecosystem. So natural vegetation on the shoreline is known to improve wildlife habitat, especially for nesting birds, biodiversity, erosion control, water quality, water temperature regulation, keeping the warm water from the land running off into our cold water, and flood mitigation. Think of this like a big sponge absorbing a lot of water. So our first step really is restricting lawn mowing, and then enhancing vegetation with the introduction of additional native plants. Besides all of these good things about riparian zone, we'd like to tie into another project that Rotary is doing on a larger scale, including plants to attract pollinator species. There's a group in Duluth and Thunder Bay that are connected with monarch and pollinator flyways from Mexico up. They want to follow along the Great Lakes shorelines. So Duluth is working on a pollinator garden, Thunder Bay is working on a pollinator garden, and they would be happy, and we would be happy if we could include some pollinator species here and be part of that as well. Okay, next slide. This is just a picture, before you picture a wall of vegetation, this is a natural vegetation can be beautiful. It's an example of a naturalized shoreline that's been pruned for views. It's got the roots there to stabilize the shoreline, to provide habitat. But you still have lots of views, and it looks nice. The next slide. Another example of a naturalized shoreline. In this one, there's very little human development. There can be all kinds of variations. So this example provides habitat for fish and wildlife, as well as human uses. Now, in many places, and I know in Southern Ontario particularly, and I've seen examples in Minnesota, this is a standard in cottage country, where their pristine lakes have gotten overgrown with vegetation and algae because of the nutrient runoff from land. So the way to resolve that is getting that shoreline vegetation. And where it can be legislated, it is. In our area, I was involved, I was the author of the Shibandwan Lake Management Plan, and Clearwater Bay on Lake of the Woods was dealing with the same issue with cold water fisheries as we have here. And in those examples, they've used legislation to promote the use of natural shoreline vegetation and limit development close to the water. So it's a standard practice, and it's a good practice. So ideally, and we had a lot of contact when I was working on the Shibandwan plan with Ministry of Environment, who are really knowledgeable about impervious surfaces and nutrient runoff. Ideally, 30 meters has been known as a shoreline buffer of natural vegetation that will pretty well stop the impacts of development on the water. Now, however, any width of buffer is helpful. So I know I measured out just for fun what 50 feet looked like here, and some people may have seen the flagging signs posts that I had along by the shoreline for a while. We're not meeting 50 feet, and many places we're not meeting 20 feet, but it would be a start. Okay, next slide, please. This is just another quick example of a cross-section to show the importance of natural vegetation to absorb and reduce the flow of both surface and subsurface water. And the woody roots help to reduce erosion and actually help the stream be a little deeper as opposed to shallow and angled, because those trees are holding the earth in place. So the roots are really important. The next slide. So the location that we're proposing is from the double boat launch, following along the edge of the pathway, on the water side of the pathway, down to the end of the current grass area. So it's about 200 meters.
And how wide is it?
It varies depending on where the path is. Like that picture on the beginning slide is probably one of the wider areas. Some places it's fairly close to the river. I've got some more pictures here so you get a better idea.
Okay.
So next slide. So here you can see some pictures of, again, that first slide where you can see in the grass a bit of a worn walkway. So we would be going up to there. And then on the rest of the area, it's between the walkway and the shoreline. So you can see there's already some existing vegetation there. Some places it's not that wide, it may barely be 10, 12 feet. And you can see some places we have vegetation, and as Glenda was saying before the meeting, see the bench, and where the bench is looking at, it's looking at willows and tag alders, and you really can't see the water. So we're committing in doing this that we will prune for views.
Oh,
This is an area used by the public, and it's an area we want to have beautiful for the town. So making sure people can see the water, if there are complaints that come into the office, if we go ahead with this, we'd appreciate knowing so that we can work with people and try and do our best to make this look beautiful and people to admire the views. So that gives you an idea of the area that we're looking at. So the new plants, when we're looking at the kinds of new plants that we're getting, the mature size of the plants will take into consideration. So areas like where the lookout is, where you can see the dirt path, we would put some shorter plants in front of that so that they're not going to grow and obstruct the view. It might be a good spot for some of the pollinator flowers. There is a native nursery on the Pass Lake Road that I've been in a bit of discussion with her. She knows her plants. She knows the habitats that the plants prefer. So we'll get the right kind of plants that will grow in this type of area. And again, as I mentioned, in spring and fall, we'll do pruning when birds are no longer nesting. Okay, next slide. So the how and the when. So if with town council approval, we would ask this year that we would, that you stop mowing. We would, we'll make some signs, so we have some materials to make some signs with, to place along the shoreline, just to educate people what's happening. I also mentioned in the proposal that we would write something up for Facebook, just explaining to people what's happening. Next spring, I'll apply for funding through the winter. And as I mentioned, the Lake Superior National Marine Conservation Authority, I've spoken to them about the proposal and they're supportive, and they said if we have council approval, they invite us to apply for some of their funding.
oh.
So that we can get plants and trees and the tree protectors. So the beavers won't eat them. Yeah, so we'd be doing that through the winter. And in the spring, if we get the funding, plant some herbaceous plants, woody shrubs, and possibly a few trees. Do pruning in the spring or the fall. And then the following year, probably doing the same thing. And then after that, it would be just maintaining the area. So next slide is an example of sign. And as I was looking at all the information that's online these days, there's Canadian Watersheds website, and they have a subgroup under that is protecting the riparian zones, the shoreline zones, and it's called the Natural Edge.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did you make that through AI or something and just like incorporate our slogan? That's
That
pretty
was-
cool.
I was
Okay.
looking for examples of signs that other places have done, so it's a bit of a combination of their sign and then adding a little bit of information to it.
Yeah,
So that's what our sign would look like if,
Could,
yeah.
yeah.
it's just an example of a sign, and I saw that and thought, oh, that's really appropriate. And if you guys liked it, we could have something like that up there.
It looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah. it was. Again, we can work on that with approval. So the last slide is the risk. And I know our mayor had mentioned that you're working on developing a marina development plan. And I understand anything can happen in plans. My hope in considering that this goes ahead, for one, is the importance of this natural shoreline vegetation. and we're on the Nipigon River. This is a really unique cold water ecosystem. I would hope that our town wants to be perceived as doing our best to keep that system clean and pristine. And this is the way to do it, no matter how small of a buffer we're making, at least we're making efforts to keep the water clean. This could be considered as a trial before the plan if you support the use of shoreline vegetation to help educate the public, get some public input on how this affects or what they think of it, and get them educated and used to seeing some natural vegetation along the shoreline. This project, the financial investment and time investments are pretty low. It's a pretty simple project. A loss of a portion of the shoreline buffer that we did develop wouldn't represent a major financial or time loss. So if we did go ahead with this and then the plan had something moved into this area, it wouldn't be a huge loss. In terms of risk, in terms of expertise, again, I have an honors water resource science degree and a master's of science in biology. I was the author of the Shavandar Lake Management Plan, which again incorporated the importance of shoreline vegetation to mitigate impacts of development in the cottage area. There are limitless resources online on the importance of these shoreline buffers and how to reestablish them. So in terms of knowledge, risk, there's lots of knowledge. Also, the Lake Region Conservation Authority are a local source of information. Even though we're outside of their area, we may not have access to the plants that they grow for within their area, but between their knowledge online, and I'm sure staff will be helpful. And again, the Watersheds Canada program called the Natural Edge, and they have lots of information as well. So last slide is just for questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Does anyone have any questions for Kathy at this time?
I'm just gonna ask one.
Go ahead.
When I was in Calgary, they were putting up the same thing on part of the Bow River. And anyways, they had a tree called, because I went and got out of the car and went and asked, they're planting Joe Pye weed. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
That's working. Not working. Joe Pye weed, it's a, like.
Plant, is it herbaceous plant here?
It's a shrub.
It's all over the place here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's natural.
that's a natural tree out there, I guess.
Somebody else
Okay.
is on. Oh, that's because here's.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there now, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, it's a natural tree out there, but they harvest it and they put them on the shoreline. And they're like a shrub, about 3 feet, 4 feet high, that's the max they go.
Okay. Okay, that's what a plant that I didn't, I'll look into.
You know where they are?
There's a bunch of them down in Marina now,
Oh.
right along the road there,
Oh.
and probably along the front of it.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions?
I got some
Yeah, go
comments.
ahead.
First of all, I'll come out right off the bat. I don't agree with this job at all or this proposal. I have concerns with, like you're talking about volunteerism. Every organization has trouble with volunteers. I believe it will sooner or later fall back on the township. We can't fund stuff like that. We have trouble maintaining what we have. And I walked it about a couple hours ago, and there's more vegetation there than, I think half of it should be gone already. Because the views are not there. That the bench there is looking at a bunch of shrubs, and the picture here, that has got to be probably 10 or 15 years old, because there's a way more brush than what this picture depicts. You had some newer ones there from 26, but this overhead Google one, it looks like it's all bare and everything. It's not like that at all. Personally, I think it's way too overgrown already. And, okay, what else here? I do have concerns with volunteers. The Rotary has had trouble with volunteers for different things already. You might have a group working right now, but it's been my experience on council that it always comes back to the municipality, always. We don't have the capacity to fund that. And, there's also, I have a concern with liabilities. You did mention that in your proposal, but liability is liability. And if somebody cuts off a finger with it,
Rotary.
I don't know if Rotary covers that or not.
We have our own insurance.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, well, that would be good.
Yeah.
But, I don't think we have the capacity to maintain it, and your volunteers will disappear. I'm sure you would agree with that sooner or later, because, I understand and I appreciate your enthusiasm for this and the reason why you're doing it. But I don't think that 200 meters is going to make much difference. The runoff there, I would say, is minimal. If you're looking at runoff into the lake, take a look at the Clearwater Creek and all the other stuff that's flowing in. The stuff that flows off of that property down there is very, very minimal. I don't believe we put anything on there, any chemicals on there or anything, so there's no issue with that, in my view. And like I said, this picture doesn't represent what's down there. I walked it. It's pretty well blocked already, except for a couple areas. And some of your pictures did provide that, but from what I just looked at down there, your pictures are very well picked, to justify what you're trying to do. Because go take a walk. I'd encourage council to take a walk down there and see how much vegetation is there already. As far as erosion goes, I've been down there for decades, and there, where the boat launch is at the far end, there is very little erosion there at all. So I appreciate your efforts on it, and I understand what you're trying to do, but I can't agree with it at all. So, thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments? Besides, just to see if anyone else has any, because you already spoken. Anne Marie, do you have any comments or questions?
You need
I was kind of,
Sorry.
I kind of agree with Greg that the 200 meters is sort of a drop in the bucket when you look at the whole picture. And it is just that one part, that's the park. It's not like we've been mowing the entire length of the river. Obviously if our practices are detrimental to the wildlife, we would stop that, but this is a very small section, the section that is the park. People go down there for the views. I could see doing areas of it with for the pollinators, that's a good idea, but I don't, like you said, I don't think this really has an erosion problem, or ever has. It's just in this one section that they're talking about. I think they'd need more studies.
Yeah.
Councilor Westhaver, you said you had a comment or a question?
To Glenn, what he said about trees and everything there, isn't that part of this program? Is you're going to keep those trimmed so the vision's better, right? And also, I'm just wondering about how many volunteers you have already, because I would be one too. Is it the whole Rotary Club?
All members of our Rotary Club, I've had members from the Thunder Bay Rotary Club offer to come up and participate in this, as I've offered to participate in theirs as well.
Due to the size, it's due to the length of it, it doesn't require a lot of volunteers at this time, so, and we're not looking at putting up really tall items where you're looking at overhead crane issues for trimming and stuff.
Effectively, what it is taking it, maintaining it, making it look half decent with naturalized plants. That's my understanding anyway.
Anyone else have anything? Well, everyone has said their comments. So I like this idea. I think it's a great idea. The concern about the volunteers, I mean, and then in the same breath saying it's only a small piece. Well, that makes sense, because if you wanna be able to maintain something, you're gonna, like you said, start small. There was an announcement about blue-green algae, that was just discovered in Hattie Cove in Puckasaw Park. So this is something that's supposed to mitigate blue-green algae, from what I read in your report.
Keep nutrients down, you keep aquatic vegetation from growing, including algae.
Right, and then there's been issues in our river with the, putting, sorry, I can't think right now. Putting the buoys, we've had some, people complaining about the buoys not being in because there's too much silt. Is that not erosion? Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is something that might help that
This is
as well.
It's a small project, it's not gonna change the world, it's not gonna stop Lake Superior from having blue-green algae or more aquatic plants than it ever used to. It may not affect that particular sandbar that's out there, but it's a piece of that puzzle. And if we work with the little pieces, it's like counting your pennies and the dimes will take care of themselves.
Yeah,
It's part of that, it's just a small chance to try a little project and to help the environment.
And the fact that you're the lead on this and you have a master's in biology and worked on plants similar to this is beyond my expertise. And I think what you're saying does make sense. And the concern about the development plan at the marina, I mean, maybe development is a word that people get confused about sometimes, but it's, in my thoughts, is more sort of a land use plan to use what we have down there in a smart way. So, because we have a beautiful marina down there, and just, anyways, I don't even think we could build anything close to the shoreline like that, because it is a protected area, I believe. We even have trouble, we've had trouble in the past asking for like different routes for the Nipigon River Recreation Trail deeper into the bush, because it is a protected area. So, I mean, again, a small area, willing volunteers, low to no cost to the town. I feel like it's a bit of a win-win project, and I think it's a good partnership too.
Yeah.
I think it's smart.
I have a comment there.
Yep.
You mentioned like the erosion and the silt, that is all coming from Clearwater Creek, which was a consequence of us putting it back where it was. It wasn't an unintended consequence, it was a consequence. They knew that was gonna, and this picture is that old. I would predict that silt is a lot more bigger than it looks in this picture. So like, again, I don't believe there's any erosion there, and if there's any decisions made, it really needs to be walked. Go take a look at the vegetation that is down there already. The views are blocked. You know, our bridge, which is a tourism thing, you can't see it on some of those spots.
But that's what I'm like looking at, is cleaning up those views as well. This is managing it, right?
Yeah, I all agree that those need to be managed.
And that's what part of this would be, because when you have proper plants in the place, they are more easily managed. The siltation, that's a depositional thing. That's exactly what you said. It's coming out of the creek, it's coming down the river.
Mhm.
There's no erosion, that's not coming from really right there as erosion. But to me, it looks like cleaning out the space, taking, like you're talking about the views, it's like, well, if you start putting proper bushes and spreading them out and building for views, then it's done. And like the upkeep on the ongoing upkeep, even after volunteers do disappear, is most likely going to be minimal, because it's such a small section.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, to me, this
And
is,
there is work that we're not going to be doing. If we're not going to be mowing, we could use those hours to prune.
and we do want to make our marina a centerpiece.
Yeah.
So.
I totally agree with you there, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think improving the views is an awesome thing and it needs to be done, but go walk down there right now. It's pretty overgrown.
Oh, I know.
And it's, like, all due respect to the Rotary, but I don't think it's a good project. There's volunteers will go, and then even the township trying to maintain it is challenging. We have challenges all over the place that we can't maintain what we have.
Yeah, but this way here, it's gonna be done by volunteers at no cost to the town to pay hourly rate to go to cut those trees down where they have a view.
I agree, the volunteers would be wonderful, but everybody knows volunteers disappear, and this will be the same. Rotary has been up and down with their volunteers for years.
Well, it's not gonna hurt to start with the volunteers. We have many adjustment committee and lots of volunteers to stay on committees. And I don't see the issue if she can get help from the Thunder Bay Regional Conservation Area, if they run into trouble. I don't know. It's like do nothing or do something.
Okay, so we do have, everyone's said their piece here, so, we do have a resolution here in front of us. So I will read it, but, we will need a mover for this. Would anyone like to move? Okay. Counselor Staver, anyone like to second? Seconded by Counselor Hart. Okay, so resolution 2026-169, moved by Counselor Westhaver, seconded by Counselor Hart. Be it resolved that this council receives the Rotary Club's proposal to enhance natural shoreline vegetation for information, and that the proposal be referred for consideration as part of the future marina development plan process. Now, so this is not us agreeing to the proposal to start immediately. This is to be part of the development plan. Yeah. Okay.
That's still a step that shouldn't be taken.
Well, that's your
My opinion, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna read this down. Be it resolved that this council receives the Rotary Club's proposal to enhance natural shoreline vegetation for information, and that the proposal be referred for consideration as part of the future marina development plan process. All in favor? Opposed? And carried with a vote of, you're in favor? Okay. Of 4-2. So this is carried.
So can I ask, this is after the marina development plan, or
As a part of.
As a part of.
so we need to wait until?
That was my question too, because sort of my understanding would be that the mowing would stop this year, or would that stop for next year, or I'm not sure.
And I guess because I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, that's me.
Hello.
If I may, through you, your worship,
Yeah.
the resolution, which of course can be modified, recommends receiving this for information, thanking Kathy for her presentation, it's very informative, and making sure this is part of the consideration of the overall marina development plan. I think it's my recommendation is to, as we consider all of the vegetation in the marina, to include this as part
You
of.
need your mic, can't hear.
Sorry. Over here. Make sure this one works okay. This is to include it in the marina development plan process, where we can consider wholly how we wish to treat the shoreline, how we wish to treat the views. I don't think the mowing down in the marina is actually occurring on a super frequent basis at the moment, and with the pending loss of our summer students, it's going to be cut back even further. So
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I'll leave it there.
Okay. Sorry. The aliens are coming. Sorry.
Okay, and I keep forgetting how late in the season it is, so. So this has been carried, and I will indicate, that Councillor Harper did vote against, so I'm just gonna indicate that on that, just so you know. Greg?
Can I, just to be clear then, so there won't, the part about stopping cutting the grass and putting up signs this year is not.
This will not happen,
It's
yeah,
not approved.
not this, not,
So I won't be applying for funding.
um,
I can't apply for funding without council approval.
yes,
So next year will.
that would be correct. Yeah, it's, because I know that the LSMCA deadline is October 1st, and they only do it once a year.
Yeah.
So you would not be getting funding until the following year. Yeah. Because we would need to provide full approval before they can apply for funding. So that's,
What kind of funding are you looking at?
it's Parks Canada.
Just for a few herbaceous plants and maybe a couple trees.
$1,000?
Under $1,000.
Under 1,000?
And then if we get a few trees, it'd get tree protection. To keep
Yeah, and just so you know, there is other funding out there. I think there's a Great Lakes fund or something that could be accessed, but anyways, yeah, that's just, that's gonna be part of, looked at as part of the plan, which is being applied for funding currently, so. Okay, and thank you very much for your presentation. It's clear a lot of work went into that, so thank you very much.
Okay, and you don't need to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is number 4, approve previous council minutes, July 14th, 2026. Anyone have any concerns with those minutes? Okay, so we have a resolution to approve the regular meeting minutes from July 14th. Who would like to move? Councillor Cartwright, who would like to second?
I'll second.
Councillor Harper, okay. Resolution 2026-170, moved by Councillor Cartwright, seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved, this council approves the regular meeting minutes from July 14th, 2026 as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, next up we have item number 5 under council business. We have our CAO administration report, 2026-08-1801, governance bylaws, restricted authority lame duck delegation, and election signs. Okay, would you like to present your report for us, please?
Bring it right close. We need to get a Britney Spears one for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, your worship. This report introduces 2 new pieces of legislation related to the election. One replaces an existing bylaw on the books for lame duck. I'll explain how it sort of modifies or changes what's been used in the past. And the second introduces what I believe to be new legislation governing the placement of election signs. The lame duck bylaw here in front of you, which we may not need, we won't know until we finish the nomination period, delegates authority to the CAO, the powers of the municipal council to a certain degree with limitations. Most of the lame duck bylaws in smaller municipalities and up here restrict the powers of the CAO to basically spend what's in the budget. This one goes a little bit beyond and allows the CAO to exercise the regular powers of council in the case of an emergency, serious operational need, replacing key staff, so that we're not completely hamstrung during the lame duck period. So I think in that sense, it's a more fulsome, more developed lame duck bylaw, and even if we don't need it, we'll have it on the books for the next term of council. The second bylaw governs election signs and just puts in place rules. On the sort of scale of election sign bylaws, I would describe this one as fairly simple and broad in scope. It allows election signs to be placed on municipal road easements, on private property where it's approved, as long as it doesn't obstruct traffic views or cause any other issues. And there are a bunch of other limitations on when the signs can be put in place. It authorizes us to remove signs that have been placed illegally. It does also authorize us to fine and collect fines. It doesn't necessarily compel us to do so. It just provides more guidance for candidates for council and candidates for federal and provincial elections. It governs election signs for all, everything, everything. And just puts in place a series of fairly clear, well-established rules about where signs can go, where they're safe, where they're appropriate, without being overly onerous in the restrictions, without banning them on all municipal property or all allowances. I think it's a necessary piece of legislation so that candidates for council or for federal provincial government know where they can or can't put a sign.
Oh, sorry. Should wait for you to click on. Does anyone have any questions for our CAO on these? No? Okay, so we do have a resolution here. And I believe it covers the election signs and the lame duck as well. So who would like to move this resolution? Councillor Westhaver, who would like to second? Councillor Hart, sorry. All right. Resolution 2026-171, moved by Councillor Westhaver, second by Councillor Hart. Be it resolved that this council receives CAO Administration Report number 2608-1801, respecting governance bylaws, restricted authority, lame duck, the delegation, and election signs for information. And that council gives first, second, and third readings to bylaw number 2040, being a bylaw to delegate certain authority to the chief administrative officer during a restricted authority or lame duck period. And the council gives first, second, and third readings to bylaw number 2041, being a bylaw to regulate election signs within the township of Nippigan. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, next, under council business, we are at item B, which is the CAO Administration Report 2026-08-1802. Lease renewal, NCC Canteen lease, 2020, and then the 2025 commercial lease is attached as well. So, is there anything you'd like to talk about in this one here?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just had a few comments. The existing lease authorizes us to extend it by 1 year and then a further year, but it allows us to set new terms, particularly around rent. I did meet with the proprietor to discuss their intentions if they wanted the lease to be renewed. I suggested the price of $1,200, a $200 increase over the existing lease to reflect many of the capital upgrades that are occurring at the facility and to cover some of those costs. I think given that the current operator has been there for 1 year and 1 year only, which is a very short commercial lease, extending it for 1 year is both appropriate and common. I think the price was agreed to be fair both by myself and by the proprietor, so I recommended to council. And then it can be, when another year passes, we can consider as a council, whether or not we will wish to renew it, or whether we wish to put it to tender, or make any other changes to the lease itself. The lease itself is not problematic in any way. We have an opportunity to increase the rent. I think it's appropriate to increase the rent because of the serious capital upgrades occurring in the building. And so I recommend extending it by 1 year at the increased rate of $1,200.
Sorry.
Got it again.
Does anybody have any questions for CAO on this issue?
I can't remember what the lease
Would you
amount
like-
was.
Do you have a question?
I can't remember what the lease was. It's an increase for this year coming?
Yeah, it was 1,000 and now it's 1,200.
20% increase from 1,000 to 1,200.
Okay. I
A
missed
month.
that part.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yep, I agree with you. I think that's fair. And, we every year seem to have trouble getting somebody to operate the canteen. We have consistently for the last, I don't know how many years, have only had one person put in. And it's a whole lot of headache, for our recreation director and that to put out and get the proposal, and then it's the work for the person to put the proposal in. And so we have an operator who is reliable, consistent, quality food and everything, and supportive of the community. So I would, and I support the increase as well for the reasons that you stated, so. All right, so we have a resolution here to accept the lease renewal under those conditions. Who would like to move the resolution?
I'll move.
Yep, Councillor Harper. Who would like to second? Councillor Hart. Resolution 2026-172, moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Hart. Be it resolved that this council receives CAO administration report number 26081802 respecting the Nipissing Community Center canteen lease renewal for information, and that council authorizes a 1-year extension of the Nipissing Community Center canteen lease with Andrew St. Jean from September 1st, 2026 to August 31st, 2027 at a base rate of $1,200 per month, plus applicable taxes on existing terms and conditions, and further that the CAO be authorized to execute the necessary agreement. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Item number C, letter C. Nipissing Fall Fishing Festival request to use the township facilities. This is something that is just required from the town every year, just to make sure everyone's on the same page for the facilities that are required for the festival. So, ball fields and recreation field, arena field area, Nipissing Community Center, arena floor, multipurpose room. The use of tables and chairs, the use of the portable stage and the assistance with setup. The barriers for the parade as per usual, and the location of the beer tent. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about that request or comments? Okay. Yeah, as usual, they do a great job. They raise a lot of money for the four organizations involved, over $20,000 to $25,000 over the four organizations. So support them wherever we like. I did have a concern though about the fact that we have no dugouts at our curling club field. I've been a little concerned about that. So I did happen to see Barry Maurice the other day, just when I was walking, and asked him about that. And so he just said he's gonna make sure that he notifies the teams coming. And he said, actually, I didn't realize this, there's quite a few ball fields in Thunder Bay that don't have any dugouts, so they're
Sure.
kind of used to it. But just as long as they're aware of it, another option could be like some of their sponsors, like Jumpstart and stuff, they have those big tents that they could put there and put up for extra exposure, but that's up to them. So they are obviously aware, and they're gonna make sure that their ball players are aware as well. So that was my only concern. Okay, so we have a resolution here. Who would like to move this resolution to approve this request? Counselor Cartwright, Counselor Cartwright, and seconder, Counselor Westhaver. Resolution 2026-173, moved by Counselor Cartwright, seconded by Counselor Westhaver. Be it resolved that this council approves the Nepean Fall Fishing Festival Committee's request for the use of the township facilities, equipment, and municipal support for the 2026 Nepean Fall Fishing Festival, subject to coordination with township staff and applicable municipal requirements. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, letter D. I feel like one Sesame Street. Letter D. EDO report 2026-08-0901, Voyant Alert, Community Notification System Annual Renewal. So we do have a report here from our EDO, and our EDO, Brianna, is here and available for any questions. I don't think we really need you to read through it or anything. It's pretty straightforward. Just to renew our alert system. Does anyone have any questions for Brianna on this?
I got no questions, but
Any comment?
Yeah, that I really like that system. I've got numerous alerts on it, and it's very well done, and for the money, I think it's good value for our community.
Counselor Cartwright.
Are people required to reapply for it, or will it, no?
Nope, all of the users will carry over as long as the subscription doesn't expire on us. And yeah, we are currently up to 225 since I wrote this report, so we are seeing an increase in users consistently.
And do you have a question?
What can we do, or what can be done to increase the number of people using it?
So that's kind of part of the report as well. I do think that we need to proceed with a community awareness and registration campaign, potentially including having some people go door to door with tablets and helping older people get signed up, because not everybody knows how to work the system. It is fairly simple, but there definitely needs to be some additional campaigning around that for sure.
Yeah. In an emergency, it'd be critical to have as many people connected to that. So that's a good thing to have an outreach or whatever.
It actually has a really cool feature for, mass emergencies, where we can touch base with residents we know potentially won't be able to leave their homes or get to a phone. So upon signing up, they do have that choice to sign up for those additional critical alerts.
Yeah. I guess 200 is pretty low number.
In comparison to the Code Red platform that was put in 2018, I think there was about 35 users on that system at one point, and that was at its highest use. So this one, it's taken some time to catch on, but I think people are starting to see value in the consistency of the alerts, and also not having to get every alert, being able to select those. So if you don't want to see community events, you only want roadway advisories. Definitely, yeah.
That was actually going to be one of my questions, is how did our usership with this compare to the Code Red? So you answered that already. So 35 compared to, what did you say, 225? And I know for me, we have like one registrant for our family. So would you recommend that that's the way that you go, or would you recommend that like all the adults in the family have?
I would recommend individuals sign up just because it's based on your area. So if, say, you have left, when you sign up, you select your home location. If you're in Thunder Bay, when I send out the alert, you're not in that geo-catchment area and you won't get it. So it is important for individuals to have it on their own phones.
Okay. Okay. Cause I was gonna say if that was like households, that's actually not too bad, 225, but individuals, but it is very good compared to the code red, and I agree with Councillor Harper. I think it's, once you get those texts, it's very helpful. Texts are much better than, I didn't sign up for the code red, so whoops. But anyways, I really like this, and it is very easy to sign up. I might recommend even, I don't know about going door to door, because that is a lot of resources for someone. It takes a long time to go door to door. Maybe have some kind of a table for one day at the Fall Fishing Festival, or have a day at the library when Sumi's has someone available to help, or she can help sign people in. But I just want to make a comment that I was watching a newscast a couple weeks ago when or last week even, when the Peachland area in BC was really having some troubles. And the lady they interviewed, who had been evacuated, said, what saved our lives was the Voyant alert system. She said everyone should have, every community should have it, and everyone should sign up for it, because they were getting minute-to-minute updates on where the fire was. So maybe that can be part of your campaign, it's actually saved lives in the Peachland BC fire. So that can scare people into spending a few minutes to get signed up maybe.
I have a comment further
Yeah.
down there. My son is in Peachland, which is next door to Summerland, and he sang the praises of that thing too. Like, I got the BC Fire app and a couple other things that I downloaded, but that one was the critical one. He said, if they told you to get going, you know. Where the other ones were sometimes there was time delay, he said, and stuff, so we would vouch for it that it's very good.
One thing too. Now, it works good to have it at, let's say, any main event going on in town, but the people that are like almost shut-ins that don't get out, they need somebody to go door to door. Like, I don't know how you identify these people, but there are people that just don't go anywhere. And maybe, I don't know how hard it is to track those people down, but they're the ones that would need to help most if there was an emergency, right?
I agree with you, and I think that maybe launching something similar to the snow subsidy pilot program, where we reach out to the community and say, hey, is you or somebody you love in need of this system? And in that case, we could potentially make a day of bookings, and then we could go around and get that group of people done in one day.
One more suggestion, actually. Mail outs are very cheap. Now, it's only people that get flyers mailed to them, which I think are mostly older people at this point, probably people over 60. So I would personally suggest a very simple mail out that says instructions on how to sign up. And if you don't have a computer, or this is too complicated or whatever wording, then contact, and then someone can make a house visit.
Exactly.
Whether that's like a volunteer, or, I'm always talking about Sumi doing that stuff, but someone like Sumi or someone from the staff can make, because I'm sure there's not too many people that would actually need someone to come to them. But like Gail said, there are some people that can't leave their house or won't leave their house, and maybe don't know how to use a computer either. There are some people that just don't have a computer or a cell phone. Yeah. So, you could do it by phone if they have a landline, but it might be too complicated for some. But I think that it might capture that few so you wouldn't have to like go door to door everywhere, and just targeted places that call you and say, oh, can you come and help me?
Yeah.
But yeah, very good. Very good system. Okay, so we do have a resolution here. Who would like to move the resolution to continue that? Councillor Westhaver, who would like to second?
I'll second.
Councillor Harper? Resolution 2026-174, moved by Councillor Westhaver, seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved that this council receives EDO report number 26080901 respecting the Voyant Alert Community Notification System annual renewal for information, and that council approves the annual renewal of Voyant Alert at a cost of $2,900 plus applicable taxes, and further that staff be authorized to undertake a community registration and promotional campaign to increase resident participation in the system. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. And again, if you do a mail out, which I think is at $50 or $60 just to the people in it again. So it's the cost of printing it out on our printer and bringing it to the post office. Maybe put that little bit in there about, in the BC fires, it was noted that it was a life-saving thing for people to, however you want to say it. Plug it into AI, it says it better. But yeah, I'm a strong believer in some people have to be scared in order to do that. And I think that ash falling from the sky a couple weeks ago was pretty scary for most, or about a month ago now, I guess. All right, let's move on. Sundries. 6A, August 14, 2026, Solicitor General letter to municipalities concerning the 2027 OPP policing costs. This is for information. This is not a surprise. It is just a notification that once again, they're going to be increasing our policing costs, the levy up to 11%, which of course means it's gonna be at 11%. It ain't gonna be 8, 9, or 10. So this is, I think this is a new normal now, unfortunately.
What would our present cost be, just ballpark?
It's like 450,000, something like that. Nope,
Just
not all.
under 500,000, I think it was 496, so it's all by 11%. What's not mentioned in this letter is when we do receive our allotment, our assignment of costs, and they don't guarantee that they won't come back for the difference between what the actual bill was and what the cap.
They come back.
Yeah, and so there's a capped amount, and the overage is something that they're still tracking and still on the books.
Yeah, 10% or wouldn't be very good for our budget.
No, and that's what
What we've been dealing with the
Yeah.
last couple of years, and the first year or the second year that we've been on council is they threatened 18%, and people freaked out, and they brought it down to a cap of 11, which made us, it was a psychological game, right? Because before it was 2, maybe 3%. They brought it up to 18, okay, well, we'll just bring it down to a cap of 11. Oh, thank God. Wait a second, it used to be 3 or 4. Yeah, so I think that's a new normal, but anyway. So
They're busy.
yeah, that's just for information, and, yeah, there's no problem with the OPPs, the service that we get and everything, it's just, it would be nice if the province
Well, I
paid a little
live
bit more.
on the highway and they're constantly getting drugs off of this highway. And when you see 2, 3 cruisers at a car, you know something's going on big.
Yep, they've been busy though, right? Okay, so that was just for information. Next we have July 3rd, 2026, request for a letter of support from Northwestern Ontario Trails Association. So then we have the Nipigon Trail Access Options Map, benefits of the Trans-Canada Trail to communities. So this is a trail, I've been in touch with this fellow actually quite a bit through my work. And they have a very, a big idea, and it's mostly west of Thunder Bay right now, in the Kekabeka area and sort of in Thunder Bay. And so I believe this route, this part of their trail idea is a few years into the future. But what I kind of liked about the map was that it goes through part of the Deer Lake Trail,
Yeah.
which we are having, which if they did do that, they would be taking care of the maintenance, which would be nice, because that's a gap right now for us is looking for a way to get the maintenance done on that, so. Does anyone have any comments on that? They're not asking for any money at this point. It's just basically a letter of support for the trail. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I'm not aware of that there even was a trail at Deer Lake. I thought most of the bikers that we have here in Quarters, they use the Tower Road. So
That's a hiking trail though. This is for hiking.
this is on hiking only.
Yeah, it's non-motorized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this would, they have to clear that on their own and to do a trail?
On this portion, there is already a trail. The Deer Lake Mountain Trail has been a thing for about it's been maintained and insured for about 7 or 8 years now.
Okay.
I don't know about the other parts of the trail there, but again, this is their idea of where their trail is going to go. And I know that they're involved with the VTA, the Voyager Trails Association, which is the manager of that trail as well.
Yeah. But this Tower Road, that is a quad trail.
That's Tower Road.
Yeah, that's why it's red,
The green is the trail.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. the hiking trail. And it's not to say that parts of the trail don't go on logging roads or don't go on, they just kind of are putting it wherever they can, but they're looking for existing trail to join up together, and it's a big project, and good luck to them, so. All right, so we do have a resolution here, about the, to support in principle the Connecting Communities Recreation Trail expansion, to provide a letter of support. Who would like to move this? Anybody? Yep, Councillor Westaver, anyone to second? Councillor Cartwright. So resolution 2026-175, moved by Councillor Westaver, seconded by Councillor Cartwright. Be it resolved that this council supports in principle the Northwestern Ontario Recreational Trails Association's Connecting Communities Recreation Trail Expansion Project and proposed Nepean Trail, and that the mayor be authorized to provide a letter of support on behalf of the township. All in favor? Opposed?
Are we insured?
And carried.
Something happened?
No, that wouldn't have anything to do with us, no. Okay, next we have a letter dated August 7th, 2026 concerning Fraser and Elizabeth Lake Campers Association landfill access. So just to summarize, this is an individual that represents the Campers Association and is asking for an exception to our bylaw to have a $100 punch card with $10 per dump visit. And this is up for discussion.
They don't pay
Comment.
taxes.
I think we sort of forgot about the people when we were making the decisions on our dump that don't live in Thunder Bay, the people that do live in Southern Ontario or in this United States that come up here to camp at these lakes, that can't just take their garbage home with them because they're here for three or 4 months or whatever. I know other communities have the punch card where they pay $100 and then they it's $10 per visit or whatever. I think it's fair if we're just talking about household garbage that anything to keep it like from ending up in the bush. Apparently, some of them are just dumping their garbage along the side of the road on the way to the dump now because they get to the dump and they're turned away. So I think it's a good idea. I know it's not our property and they're not our taxpayers, but they are here, they're living here for that period of time. They're spending money in our grocery store and hardware store, like she said, and that. So, I mean, it's not like they're asking to dump their garbage for free either.
Okay, anyone else? Councillor Westaver?
Okay, I have a camp on Fraser Lake Road and we never pay taxes to the town. But I could take my garbage home, but the ones that live on the other side of the lake, most of them are Thunder Bay. So I don't, an hour drive with your garbage, otherwise you should have to maybe stop at the Red Rock dump. Cause I thought we were trying to save our landfill site.
I got a comment.
Yeah.
You answered this letter, didn't you?
I answered his, I told him that it would go forward to council for
Yeah.
consideration. I did mention that there is an election coming up and it
Yeah.
would be this would be kind of a large decision that we would probably defer to a new council.
Mhm.
And I did recommend, following in the meantime, because it did take a couple of weeks for this to go through. Cause I believe that the Red Rock dump.
Yeah.
The Red Rock,
Sorry, the Red Rock landfill does take, public waste at a fee, which is probably what, I've never been there, but what is it, 10 minutes past Madigan?
Something
10
like that,
minutes, west of Madigan.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
The other thing is we do have a recycle depot, which is paid for by the,
Province,
no, it's paid for by the producers of plastic.
yeah.
Got 3 mics on.
There's a word for it, there's a word for their organization, but, which can, as we know, recycle very many things. So I would recommend that, and that was just in the meantime kind of thing as we had this discussion, but I agree that, yeah, it's, some of them they're between a rock and a hard place because it's, they've been used to going to the Nipigon dump and the answer is not throwing it in the bush. I hate that, well, we'll just throw it in the bush. Well, like, there used to be a provincially run, MNR run landfill sites that closed. And of course, the municipalities now pay for all that landfill to be taken care of, all that stuff. That being said, Red Rock has a landfill that's open and able to take refuse. We have a recycle depot that is open 24/7. That, there's no attendant there, so if someone from a camp wants to go in there and bring their stuff in there, they're more than welcome to, bring their garbage level down a little bit and then use the Red Rock. And I would recommend that we maybe send that message to them again officially and then defer this decision to a new council if they so desire to make a different decision.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about that?
Cause we just turned down the ones that are on the highway west of, or east of us, right? So I don't see.
I would agree
Yeah,
that we.
the Red Rock,
Oh,
they
sorry.
don't have to go all the way into Red Rock, it's just off
It's
the
off the
highway.
It's on the
Yeah.
highway, yeah.
That's true.
Yep, go ahead, Councillor Harper.
I thought we made this decision already, but
Yeah.
it seems to have come back. I still don't agree. I don't think any garbage should go in there from any taxpayer. It's perceived as 1 or 2 garbage bags, but realistically, it's gonna get more abuse. Even if they have, on their way to camp, they'll be dropping stuff off because it costs money for them to go to Thunder Bay to get rid of,
If it's open.
extra stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So personally, I think it'll be abused and our dump is a valuable asset. It would cost us probably millions to find a new one, if we could find a new one. So I believe we need to protect it, and if for fairness to our taxpayer, I don't think there should be any, even at $10 a dump.
Yeah.
It's not fair to our taxpayers to be subsidizing that. Anyways, yes, that's my opinion, and I think we should stick with the decision that we've made.
Yeah, and
Like I said, I do feel for them, but there's not been any charge, apparently for decades.
No.
Zero charge for them to
Yeah.
come and bring their.
There was
their
big truckloads
trash.
coming to Nipigon because it was cheap,
Yeah.
nothing here, and they were charging thousands
Yeah.
up there to get rid of
I
the
have
big
heard-
dump truck.
Commercial trucks have come
Yeah,
to
yeah. that
Nipigon
has
in the
been-
past
yeah.
from Thunder Bay to dump at our
Yeah,
landfill
that is
because
true.
of the lack of fees.
Yeah.
So, and I have gotten some comments back that our landfill site actually looks pretty good
Pretty good.
and organized and.
It is, I was there
clean.
today, it looks good, yeah.
Yeah, so again, that's the decision of this council, we made that decision. And, if they so desire to send another letter in November when a new council is in operation, then, that's the decision of that council. I think.
Your letter was very well written. It explained things. A reasonable person should be able to read that and understand why.
Especially when there is an option 10 minutes down the highway.
Yeah.
Which maybe they weren't aware of, I don't know. Okay, so, you got direction from that you would respond, to the camper, or would you like me to respond to the camper? I can do that. I can basically almost reiterate
What you said,
if you
yeah.
guys are okay with that.
Well, they're representing everybody over there, right?
Yes.
The president.
If I may, your worship, although our landfill property is large, the geographic area where we're allowed to operate is quite small, and it will need to be increased. There will be significant expenses associated with that. As an administration and as a governing council, we'll have to think carefully about how we choose to finance it. From my perspective, there's probably a price at which we'd be willing to take an outside bag of garbage, because it helps finance some of those costs. None of this will happen sort of quickly. Taylor and I have, been talking and kind of working on thinking about this. So the resolution that was prepared, which we of course have to follow, is to refer it, back to administration for review. We'll have a report back to council, probably not this council.
Yep.
Just a longer term plan for, how do we finance the expansion of Taylor always remembers the precise term, I don't, but the area where we're allowed to dump and fill. So we do have future landfill costs that are significantly more than what they are now.
Mhm.
And we need to think about exactly how we should approach financing it. And we can certainly limit the amount of garbage that goes in there by restricting any outside garbage. Or alternatively, the economist in me thinks there's probably some price at which I would take a bag of garbage. If it was an outlandish price of $50 a bag, you might say, okay, that's worthwhile. If you really don't want to take your garbage back to Thunder
But
Bay
for a price we
or
will.
back to Toronto. So that's my position. Taylor, I think, holds a different one. She could certainly speak for herself on the issue. But this needs to be, I think ideally should be part of a broader financial plan
Okay.
for financing the maintenance and expansion of the restricted operating area of the landfill.
Wake everybody up.
All right, so we do have a resolution here, to receive the correspondence and that the matter be referred to administration for review and a report back to council.
So are we okay with that then? And it would, as
Tim said, it would probably be the next council.
And I can.
And you can reply
I'll
to
reply.
this person as well. Okay, perfect.
There's only Glenna, how many camps are out at Fraser? Do you remember? 12, 14?
This is more, I think they're talking more about people at Elizabeth that are there for long term,
Oh,
not really at
Okay.
Fraser. There's quite a few at Elizabeth that live there all summer long,
yeah, that's true.
not really at Fraser.
Yeah. Well, it says Fraser /
Yes,
Yeah.
it's both, the camping
Yeah.
association
Yeah.
is both lakes,
Yeah.
but I know that the bulk of the people are at Elizabeth.
Okay, so we have this resolution. Who would like to move this resolution?
Not me.
Oh, we're accepting the letter. And then we're directing Tim to
Check into the cost.
reply and everything. This is not gonna be something that our council will be dealing with. So basically, this is to accept the correspondence and then refer to administration for review and report back to council.
I think we should accept the correspondence, but I don't think we should be referring it and putting it onto our staff. We've made a decision on it. Let's just stick with it.
Okay. So we can change that resolution. It doesn't seem like anyone wants to move it the way it is. And eventually, you will have to look into that without our direction with the new council.
Yeah.
So, okay, so, this is basically that we received this, I don't think a resolution actually has to be said because it's just for information, I guess.
Yeah, you can just strike the second part of it.
Yeah, and just have the rest of it, okay. So this is to receive, the correspondence. Who would like to move this resolution? Councillor Hurt, who would like to second? Oh, yeah. Resolution 2026-176, moved by Councillor Hart, seconded by Councillor Cartwright. Be it resolved that this council receives the August 7th, 2026 correspondence respecting landfill access for members of the Fraser Elizabeth Lake Campers Association. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, Public Works report. Taylor, you still awake?
Sorry, it's been a long.
Just a second here, let's see what we're doing here. Past there. Public Works report. I'm not gonna ask you to read these, Taylor, you have quite a substantial report here. But we have the RFQ updates, concrete sidewalk replacement, and the pulverize and pave, which you want to award. Is there anything that you want to state about any of that in general that we should know about? But it seems like everything is there that we have already approved and it's within budget.
Yep, everything's within budget. Yeah, I don't have much to add on the RFQ updates, but I recommend awarding them the concrete sidewalk replacement to JB Northern Contracting and the pulverize and pave to Bruno's Contracting.
All right, and we do have resolutions for those where we will read out all the costs. NOHSC Nippigan Community Center upgrades, tender development, and contract administration services. So this is to hire authorize Able Energy to proceed with additional tender development and contract administration services for the community center upgrades. Is there anything you want to highlight in that?
Just kind of highlighting here, it is a significant cost to issue the tender ourselves. A lot of the platforms, some are in the range of $9,000 a year just to post the tender. And given the minimal amount of tenders that we do post, and given the fact that they'll be responding to most of the technical questions as well, I think it's money well spent to have them issue that on our behalf.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Taylor on that portion? Number 3, water treatment plant. So it sounds like lightning zapped our emergency generator and rendered it useless. So looks like a lot of work has gone into having to consider maybe a rental if it was long-term to get this backup generator. And that the province is aware Administrative Environment, Conservation and Parks has been notified of the situation. The Hydro One has confirmed there are no scheduled power outages. Everything's moving along and confident that we'll be able to get the new generator and not need the $80,000 rental.
Yes.
Something more than we need,
just to add there, obviously with all of the forest fires and things like that occurring in the province, a lot of the emergency generators were kind of scooped up already, so it was pretty difficult to find one. But I'm happy to announce that we were able to locate the required part, which is a controller that kind of controls all of the automation that goes on there and all of the automatic data that's being kept. So we were able to locate a controller and it arrived last week and it should be going in tomorrow. So
Awesome. Anyone have any questions about that?
I have one question.
Oh, yeah.
Taylor, was the original cause of the damage lightning strike or?
No, they,
no?
in
Thing.
it that could have had a potential, but from what the generator kind of people have told me, it is kind of a wear part that sometimes does go. It hasn't been replaced before, so yeah, they weren't overly surprised, but it should last us a significantly.
It's just the one concern I have, if it was a lightning strike or something like that, we should put a lightning arrestor on the controls of it and, you know. to
Yeah,
protect
it's
that. So,
yeah, for sure. I can definitely follow up with
just to
the
put that in your thought process, that if that's the case, or maybe it's a good idea anyways, to put a, you know, lightning arrestor or surge protector.
yeah, like a
on
surge protection. Yeah, yep. I can definitely follow up with the contractor and see if that played a factor at all. And yeah, if so, get a quote on getting that included.
there. Right on. Okay, thank you.
Might have been just a coincidence that it happened during all that time, but either way. Okay, that is everything on Taylor's report. So we do have a resolution to award the RFQs and to authorize Able Energy to proceed. So do we have a mover for this resolution? Councilor Harper, seconder. Councilor Hart. Resolution 2026-177 moved by Councilor Harper, seconded by Councilor Hart. Be it resolved that this council receives Public Works Superintendent Report number 2608-1102 for information, and that council awards RFQ 2026-05 concrete sidewalk replacement to JB Northern Contracting Inc. in the amount of $17,250 plus HST, and that council awards RFQ 2026-06 pulverize and pave to Bruno's Contracting in the amount of $240,850 plus HST. And further, that council authorizes Able Energy to proceed with the additional tender development and contract administration services required for the Nipigon Community Center upgrades. All in favor? Opposed? And carried.
Ask one question.
Sure.
I
We passed that,
I know,
but
I know,
go
but
ahead.
I have this in my notes here. I just missed
Okay,
it.
yeah, go ahead.
On the professional fees, Taylor, there's request for the proposal at 5 and then tender support 1,000, contract administration hourly rate of 165, and progress site visits 1,200 a trip, and it goes on, and like, is there a limit on that?
We're really going to be trying to keep costs down. I'm going to assist with some of the progress site visits and ongoing kind of contract admin work alongside them, just to try and keep the cost down.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay,
I, just before you go there, Taylor, I would just ask that, I know that you, I had asked you to send me like just some photos of where everything's gonna be paved and all that, and the sidewalks. So maybe in the next little while, you can get one of our staff to post those as well, just so they know what's coming up, like just in general. I think people are antsy about what paving's gonna be happening, it's a big deal. So that there's sidewalk pieces that are getting done, and she has a really nice file of pictures of where they're getting done. So I think if you can do that and then just let people know by end of September or mid-September, whatever, we're hoping to have all this done, then that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Very good stuff. All right, moving on to economic development. This is item number 8A, EDO report 26080903, HBSPCA Mobile Veterinary Wellness Clinic Future Clinic. So we do have a report here from EDO Bell, basically that they were talking about having something coming in October. That would come up very fast. And your recommendation is to have one in June because of all the different clinics that happen to be popping up anyways because of the fires and everything, so there's been a lot of care available in Thunder Bay. So I'm not gonna ask you to read your whole report here. Is there anything else that you wanna highlight in that portion of your report?
Just briefly, we had kind of adjusted the clinic from the original format that we had gone with back in June, and cut it down to a 4-person veterinarian team. They were looking at doing something a little bit smaller scale, but less students, more vets, so that they could be direct on the care. There definitely has been a lot of interest from the community, and I think that there's still going to be a lot of need, even with the clinics running through Thunder Bay. So while I do recommend that we hold off until spring, as well as kind of continue to monitor those, I think we should also put out another community interest form to kind of see where those numbers sit again.
When were you
Thinking
thinking
of
of?
maybe putting that out in the winter, like in January or earlier than that? I'm just thinking of like, people might not have their puppies yet or thoughts of a puppy yet or something like that.
Well, and I'd kind of like to see the numbers now and then potentially in the spring, if the numbers were high enough for us to consider doing the clinic in October, it might be beneficial, but it's always nice to have that data to be able to say like, more people are coming back with interest in the fall rather than the spring, so.
And it's easy enough to put out an online survey, right? It's pretty quick and easy, so, okay.
I just have one comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to see the price differential still maintained for taxpayer and non-taxpayer.
Absolutely. We had discussed keeping it at like a base 120 rather than the
Yeah.
$100. But we could also increase the outside user fee to say 140. And the only reason we're doing this, as you know, we did only have an expense of $55 from the last one, but it would be nice to have a little bit of a surplus for us to potentially be able to have something more sustainable in the community.
That was $55 with the enhanced fee for non-taxpayers?
We paid, at the end of the day, all expenses ended up coming out to, like, our cost
Yeah,
was
yeah.
$5.
But was there a difference for taxpayer and non-taxpayer?
There was,
Okay.
it was $100 for the taxpayer and
Right.
$120 for non.
Right, okay,
So just increasing it that slight amount will allow for us to.
Yeah. okay. Just want to be fair to our taxpayers that we're not
Absolutely.
subsidizing, that's all.
Yeah, and plus the people that were here already, their dogs were vaccinated, I guess, and so they're not due for another one yet. So you would get less people having it this fall.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if it was in June, then it's an anniversary of the last one, and then the people are due for their shots
It's a
again.
yearly thing, yeah.
Flea and tick too is way more important come springtime, so.
Okay, so we have a resolution regarding this report. Who would like to move? Counselor Hart, seconded by Counselor Westaver. Resolution 2026-178, moved by Counselor Hart, seconded by Counselor Westaver. Be it resolved that this council receives EDO report number 26080903, respecting a future
HBSPCA mobile veterinary wellness clinic for information, and that council authorizes administration to continue discussions with the Hamilton Burlington SPCA regarding a potential spring 2027 clinic. And that administration monitor the availability of similar veterinary services in Thunder Bay and the surrounding region. And further, that administration report back to council with proposed dates, costs, registration fees, and partnership arrangements prior to confirming a future clinic. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, and we have another report from our EDO. It's EDO report 26080902 regarding Rural Healthcare Hub Pilot Project, Innovative Counseling Ontario. So basically, this report is just, talking about this pilot project. Basically, we would be looking at investigating it a little bit further. There's no financial commitment or resources basically at this point. It's just, looking at gaps to see if this does fill the gap, because I think that's fair. We don't wanna be repeating services that are already happening, we wanna fill, services that aren't happening, so, anyone have any questions about this report that she's got here? All right, so we have a resolution, in regards to this report, and who would like to move?
I will.
Councillor Westhaver, who would like to second? Councillor Hurd. Resolution 2026-179, moved by Councillor Westhaver, seconded by Councillor Hurd. Be it resolved that this council receives EDO report number 26080902, respecting the Rural Healthcare Hub Pilot Project, Innovative Counseling Ontario for information, and that council supports in principle further exploration of the proposed pilot project, and that administration consult with existing local and regional service providers and community partners to confirm service availability, identify potential gaps, and determine whether the proposed pilot would complement existing services. And further, that administration report back to council with additional information respecting operational requirements, partnerships, funding, financial implications, and any proposed agreement before a formal commitment is made. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Thank you very much for those reports. We have one more thing under economic development. We have the June 24th Economic Development Committee regular meeting minutes. Does anyone have any questions for the EDO on this? This is from a couple months ago, so many of these things have already happened.
Years ago.
Yeah, it feels like years ago, doesn't it? Okay, so we do have a resolution to receive the minutes. Who would like to move? Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Cartwright. Resolution 2026-180, moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Cartwright. Be it resolved, this council receives the June 24th, 2026 Economic Development Committee regular meeting minutes draft for information. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, we are at the end of our regular council meeting. We're going to move into close, but before we do that, I would like to know if anyone, I'll go around and see if anyone has any other business, and we'll start to my right with Councillor Hart. Any other business?
Not right now.
Okay. Councillor Westhaver? Councillor Cartwright? Councillor Harper?
No, for me.
And I think staff have covered what their business is. Sorry. I just wanted to, I can't think super far back of any other business, but just more recently, I wanted to thank the Blueberry Buck Blast Committee. Gary Gross is the chair and his volunteers, and I know Glenn, Councillor Hurt was there volunteering as well, and our EDO here who was there all weekend. It was a bit of a panic to change everything to go inside, and they did it really well and seamlessly. And when I went to check things out, the folks who were participating, from the bands to the booths, were very happy and very impressed with how quickly everything pivoted. So
I missed.
yeah, it was very successful. Had a few different elements, and people seemed to like it inside. So that was wonderful to see. So congratulations to them, and for a successful event. And I also wanted to mention the ATV fun run that was run the same day. So the parking lots were very full. That was quite a large event that happened, and raised just over $4,000 for the Baptist Food Bank. So I want to congratulate the organizers of that as well, because that was quite successful.
You had a couple large sponsors too.
The sponsors too, yeah.
Amazing sponsors.
Yeah.
How were the sound mats? Did they make a difference with the stage?
Oh, the Blueberry Buck?
Yeah.
I don't.
There was no reflection of the sound. The sound was, to me, a little strong because I'm not used to listening to loud music.
Yeah.
Some of them were great, but if they were tend to be the musicians that played lower volume.
Mhm.
The higher volume is still a little high, but then again, we're close to these big giant speakers. But in the past, I could distinctly hear
Yeah,
every tone 3 times.
yeah,
I couldn't hear that.
It was a little
It
better.
was just once, just loud.
good.
That's what you aim for.
Yeah.
But that's Glenn's ears. I heard other people say they really liked it on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the loud thing, that's just me. That's.
But no, I did hear that. People said the sound was much better down on the floor
Yeah.
when they were sitting down there. Yeah, so I guess 2 opinions.
Yeah.
That's good.
Definitely.
Well, we started that sound map thing over a year ago.
Yes.
More than a year.
Or me, well, Kathy started it and then I.
And sorry, just one more thing before we go, the students, because when we get to our next meeting, the students will be gone. So I just wanted to say,
Oh,
I've, noticed that the students have been amazing this year, they've done an amazing job, and their supervisors, making sure they're busy and everything. And, I just wanna thank them for spending their summer with our town. It's especially when you're in high school, it's like a full-time job. Those kids are, especially the public work ones, are getting up at 7 in the morning, or being at work for 7 in the morning. It's a lot, and they do make a huge difference, and we couldn't get through the summer without them. So I just wanna thank them and wish them all the best, when they're finished to the town. And that's, we're gonna go into council, I guess we have to have a resolution to go into council. Or closed council, yeah, okay. So who would like to move to go into closed?
oh,
Counselor Westhaver, second, Counselor Cartwright. So this is resolution 2026-181, moved by Counselor Westhaver, second by Counselor Cartwright. Be it resolved that, we now resolve council results into closed session at 8:45 PM.